Right to a channel of light fluid. Welcome to Northern Lights. This is a new VN for the channel. It's kind of more of a slice of life, and there's some folklore apparently involved in here. So I thought we'd try this. I've played through it, and most of it I like what I'm seeing. So here we go. And I still have a couple more I do need to check up on sometime. But for now, just sit back, relax, and get lost in the Northern Lights. Who am I? Well, I'm Cody. Only two things were pleasant about waking up that morning. The warm, refreshing aromas of the bayou, and the knowledge that my friends would be here soon. For our last summer day together. Sitting on the edge of my bed, I glanced over at the nightstand and picked up a small geode resting by the lamp. Turning it back and forth, I watched the crystals glimmer in the morning light. The sight of it was always a comfort, filling me with strength whenever I felt weak. I got up early to give myself time to repack my bags, hoping I'd figure out a way to fit more stuff in. It was a losing battle, however, and I was lucky I could still fit everything I'd already packed back in. Carefully wrapping the geode in my thickest shirt, I tucked it into my backpack before wandering over to the closet. Fishing around, I made sure I'd accounted for all the reels of film and properly packed the small projector. As I rummaged through and sorted the box, I always couldn't believe how many movies my friends and I had created over the years. Suddenly, something tapped against my window. My eyes darted towards the sound and spotted Tobin with his casual, confident smile. Quickly I opened the latch and the window slid up. Tobin crawled through and stood up, taking a moment to straighten his shirt before pulling me into a brief hug. Tobin was a scrawny fox and one of my best friends. Puberty hadn't been kind to him, save for how energetic he'd become. He knew English, but like most Creole folk, he's fluent in and prefers French. Bonjour, Cody. Prêt à partir? Bonjour, Tobin. Guess I am. It's just hard since my roots are here and they want me to stay, no matter what my pa said. It wasn't long before Liam stuck his snout through the window, grinning stupidly as he forced his large shape inside. The sill creaked and groaned as the wood threatened to give out under the big gator. The gator swiftly got his arms around me and pulled me into a crushing hug, my head pressed against his chest. His hugs always felt like being grain in a stone mill. At least his hide was cool to the touch, a pleasantry against this hot, humid air that was blowing through the open window. Don't fret. Today's just like any other day, right? Too much squeezing. More adventures, right? Liam was squeezing all the air out of my lungs as he held on to me tighter than he'd like to admit. I could tell he wasn't able to ignore what had happened at the end of the day, and he's trying his best to hide it. Too small, Liam. Ain't no adventure if he's flattened before it begins. Liam kept that dumb grin of his as he dropped the hug. It took me a good moment to catch my breath, but I soon found myself laughing, playfully punching Liam's arm. J'espère que t'es pas encore mangé. That's got a special seafood bowl gone by the word of it. It is for our movie premiere. Man, he knows he ain't gonna say it. They're always special. Of course he does. Maybe I'll fill up for once. We all busted the gut when Liam insinuated he might sate his appetite. All the feelings of dread left with our laughter. At least for now. Got all your things packed? Before I could even answer, he paced the room and checked that I hadn't left anything important to us behind. Much as I could fit. I motioned over the two stuffed duffel bags and a backpack strapped about shut with bungee cords. It'd have to do. Then a firm knock drew all the warmth in the room away. My eyes fixated on that gilded knob. Much like my gut, it slowly twisted before the door got pushed open. Time's up. Get out. Mind your business, you old ass. You just want me to call the sheriff? Cody ain't welcome here no more. Liam glared at my father as he moved to stand between us. He glowered at my dad, years of pent-up anger growing visible on his face. Why has he ever been welcome in your house? We've never been a father to him, just whipping out the belt whenever he fucks up in your eyes. Guys, you don't have to do this. Tobin proudly stepped up alongside Liam to defend me from my father. You see when you look at Cody's a bunch of accomplishments you claim as your own, a bunch of defeats you don't want the world to know about. You're a pathetic, power-hungry cockroach of a man. I dare not any of you all talk back to me. Get the hell out of my house. It ain't worth it, guys. Let's just leave. Tobin grabbed the films, Liam the duffel bags. I put on the backpack as we pushed past my father. One last walk through the hallway, down the stairs, passing memories as we walked through the front door. Ma was waiting outside, tearing up as we stepped out. I used to blame her, but as this day grew nearer, I realised she was just as trapped as I was. None of this was truly her fault. I hoped that one day she would find the strength to break with tradition and not be scared anymore. In my heart, I knew all she needed to do was call, and I'd be there for her. I love you, Cody. Please send letters to your Titi. She pulled me into a hug, and I lowered myself a bit, allowing her to lay a gentle kiss on my cheek. And Cosma, love you too. Get away from him. Come inside, Fiona. He's not a son anymore. She stepped away, and Liam started loading my bags onto the back of his truck. Tobin, however, didn't quite seem like he was done. He knew it would be his last chance to say something. The fox stood between me and the door, staring angrily at my father, who watched on. Not a single piece of my great friend Cody's because of how you raised him. Nothing of his achievements, happiness, his time on this earth. None of it belongs to you. It never has. You don't deserve to even be called a father, you shit excuse for a man of God. Your judgment day will come, and the scales will never be in your favour. The rage in my father's eyes felt like the fires of hell on my fur. So great it was that when the door slammed after him, our porch light fell, shattering against the ground. Tobin huffed angrily, turned away from the door, resting a paw on my back to push me away from the house. By the truck, I turned to face the old house. Far better memories floated up the side of it now, thanks to my friends. Even Liam and Tobin stared at the old house, a look of mourning in their eyes. Sure, my pa had never been nice to me, but I used to like the house, all the years we spent hanging in my room and in the garden. But the veil had lifted. In my first genuine moment of freedom from parental obligation, I saw the house as the stagnant crypt it truly was. Wish I'd had out, Cody. Tobin's voice seemed to shake me from my mourning. I felt as though a weight fell off my shoulders. I've been dreading this morning all summer. But with the door locked and the eyes of my father never to see me again, I felt happy. Heck, Tobin, you told Mr. Lauren off real good. Me? Look at yourself, you big marshmallow. You never talk back to anyone. Tobin jumped onto Liam's back in a pathetic attempt to try and knock the gator to the ground. The sight of which drew a chuckle out of me, breaking me completely away from what little connection to the house I had left. Watching as they wrestled, I knew they were the ones that truly mattered to me. I always knew you had a fighting spirit in there somewhere. Come on, let it out again. The gator was laughing harshly, stumbling on his feet to balance both himself and the struggling fox grappled around his neck. Knock it off, brah. I ain't a fighter. Get him, Tobin. The scrappy little fox did all he could to make the gator succumb to the strength and fury of his pint-sized rage, but Liam wasn't having it, still cackling loudly as he fought to pry the fox off his back. Sacre bleu! It's like trying to knock down a mountain. Tobin let go with a loud, exhausted huff, straightening out his shirt once more, smiling at the ever-undefeated gator. Well, you got a bit for the ball. What shall I do? Go to City Park. One last stroll for old time's sake. Onward! Liam chuckled and climbed onto the driver's seat of his truck, cranking down the window. I scrambled in, sitting in the middle, sandwiched between my best friends. We'd long since gotten used to being squished forward, leaving room for the gator's large tail, my rudder having to find space on the bench seat. If Tobin weren't so short, he might have been pushed right off the edge onto the floor. To adventure! Liam's truck jerked to life, and off we went. Felt so strange, driving away from home for the last time. I really thought I'd be more upset. But as we turned the first corner, heading for the park, all I felt was pure joy. Joy that I would not waste another day of my life under my father's thumb. This was a chance to fully make my own way in the world, and actually be able to commit to my dreams, rather than spend another day cowering under my father's rule. City Park was our first movie, yeah? Oh yeah, what was that called again? Terror of the Mirror Bridge. I recited the title with my most menacing tone, hunching slightly to give my appearance a creepy factor. Foolish mortals, do you dare wake him? Tobin and Liam laughed softly, the fox playfully pushing against me, trying to jar me out of my Oscar-worthy performance. Ah, that was so weird. I think we'd made better films since then. I think anything's better than watching you stumble around wrapped in a bunch of foil. I can still hear that ear-bleeding crunchy sound. It was a pleasant memory, one that was fun to snicker at. Just the thought of the small gator wrapped head to claw in a bunch of foil, waddling about a public park so not to shred the costume, was silly enough to rile laughs. The imp looked like a walking TV dinner rather than the demon our first film featured. I'd only been our first go at it though, and we'd gotten way better since, but we kept to horror naturally. Taking a deep breath, I bellowed to the heavens, unleashing as mighty of a roar as an otter could possibly muster. I am the Mirror Monster! Puny mortals, you have unleashed my reflective wrath! The outburst caused Liam to laugh so hard the truck jerked harshly as he accidentally pressed down the clutch, while Tobin chittered with delight. No, still weird, no matter how you spin it. Besides, I said it better. What can I say? You got an knack for it, Liam. I'm better off screen, finding the best way to showcase you both. I keep out to the hero, Liam. The comment caused the gator to swell with pride, glancing over at the fox. You're just saying that to be nice. Ah, he's right. Truly a shine in that role. You see how much more you enjoy it. The large gator snorted and looked away, embarrassed by the sudden shower of compliments. Cody is the best victim, though. No question about that. Hey! Yeah, he's got the best scream and he fates so cutely. Well, yeah, hush up. I couldn't help but laugh. The pair ganging up like that was always a treat. We made it to the city park until past 11. The place was already a flurry of activity. Locals and tourists flocked here to enjoy the scenery. Large trees offered their shade, and a crisp wind blew through the park. Truly, a perfect day to relax with friends. The park had its charm. I couldn't deny it had been an eye-catching location for our films. But once we started to really explore the city, we found places even most locals didn't know about. Forgotten hideaways where time stood still, each imbued with an ethereal atmosphere that breathed unique life into our films. We wandered along one of the willow-lined paths until we came to what had been the starring set piece for our first movie. Without hesitation, I jumped onto the stone railing, not paying much mind to the tourists around. Beware, foolish mortals, for I am free and will feast upon your souls. Gaze into your own reflections and be lost forevermore. Fox, look upon me and I will reflect your worstest fear. The sudden legend reenacting our first film caught my friends off guard. Off you unhappy? Running out of honey? After that, Tobin was quick to take on his character, moving behind Liam in a stage act of cowardice. Oh no, not my soul, please don't. Yeah, being short on nectar is no joke. Minions just ain't right without honey. Liam swiftly snapped into character as well, taking on the heroic role I'd once filled. Stand back, brah, for only I know how to defeat the Mirror Monster. Liam extended an open hand to the air, pretending to hold a mirror in it. Meanwhile, Tobin stayed hidden behind the gator. Gaze upon your own foul demon. No, my one and only weakness, the infinite reflection. Twirling on the railing, I coughed and wheezed, acting up a storm for my death scene. Looking back at it though, Liam really had done a better job in the movie. For my grand finale, I flopped on my back, splaying out on the stone halfway over the water. I'm dead. Try as I might to play dead, Liam and Tobin's laughter caused me to break character. My own laughter echoed theirs as I opened my eyes to the vibrant sky reflected on the creek. They soon joined me on the bridge. That script really was terrible. Well, yeah. What can I do for things a mirror can defeat an evil mirror? Liam spoke in a certain way that I knew meant he was egging me on. He gave me a sly look, grinning. Hey now, what would you come up with that's so much better? Tobin soon mimicked Liam's grin, for they spoke in unison. A rock! I began to cough and wheeze once more to the unified attack, now laying so far off the railing I was hanging upside down, my thick tail the only thing keeping me from falling into the creek. I'm dead. Again. The gator laughed so loud it caught looks from a few passers-by. Tobin released a happy sigh, watching me dangle so precariously. You guys want some snowballs? My treat. Totally. Yeah, I could go for one. A little lagniappe before the boil. For a few seconds longer I let myself hang upside down, staring at the shimmering, rippling creek water, or slipping out of the moment, hurrying to catch up to the pair, halfway to a cart vendor already. We ordered 3 snow cones, pineapple for Liam, root beer for Tobin, and cherry for myself. Finding a nice shaded patch under a willow tree, we plopped down onto the ground. Oh, I think it beats a snowball on a day like this. Guess it'll be the last one, though. My whole body felt heavy as the words slipped out. I've been trying to keep those thoughts at bay. It would seem that the happier I got, the easier things broke through. That feeling of dread I've been fighting off all week crept back in at once. I knew it showed in my face as well. The drooped whiskers, the vacant stare of the sweet cold treat held in my paw. What, they don't have these in Montana? It means the last one with the 3 of us together. I know what he meant. The fox snapped aggressively at Liam. He never did handle sadness well, often tried to deflect it with angry responses. Forget it, don't matter. It's my father's fault anyway. It's not too late. If you want, you could probably still apply. Heck no, Liam. You and Tobin ain't going to get them scholarships go to waste. It's not like it'll be forever. I just got to sort out my life, figure out a path. I can transfer in a couple of years, yeah? I guess. Still feels weird. I know we've had all summer to get ready for it. Just feels like it's over too fast. Your dad is a fool. He's not my pa anymore. You heard him. Better this way. I reassured Liam and glanced over at him with a smile, watching a large gator enjoy his sweet treat. What you staring for? Thanks for snapping at him. And you too, Tobin. You had it coming. As we sat there enjoying the chilly and sweet snow cones, everything slowly began feeling good again, just as 3 friends enjoying our last day together. Let's take a picture together. I pulled my faithful camera from my fanny pack, carefully setting it upon the nearby picnic table to have us all in frame. With the wind of a dial, the timer ticked off the seconds. Liam and Tobin moved in closer, tightly sandwiching me in the middle. Worth it. You two think you're so clever. 'Cause we are. Standing up, I brushed the sticky ice off my head, though the strange smell of tropical root beer lingered still. Brushing my paws off against my shorts, I smiled at the duo. Come on, the boil will probably start soon. With that, we made our way out of the park, crammed to Liam's truck once more, heading off to order a proper New Orleans seafood boil. It wasn't a long drive to the boil, which I spent rather happily singing to a song on the radio along with Tobin. I occasionally prodded Liam with an elbow to try and get him to join in, though he never did. The gator parked his truck along the sidewalk in front of the hedge fence courtyard, and as soon as we climbed out of the truck, the overwhelmingly delicious scent surrounded us. It was a unique, familiar blend of the hunger-inducing aromas of a bountiful boil, its distinctive spices, citrus, well-cooked vegetables and seafood. Already we could hear the joyful chatter of neighbours gathering together to share the feast. Oh man, looks like we made it just in time. Pushing open a large wooden gate, we slipped into a true New Orleans oasis, A wonderful lush courtyard garden, shaded with wisteria flowers dangling from a trellis overhead that spanned the entire courtyard. The garden was dotted with picnic tables, hardly an empty seat around. The place was packed with fellow neighbours, a few of my classmates, even some of my old teachers. The far end, a row of large stock pots were boiling away. I was so busy waving to my neighbours I didn't notice someone sneaking up on me. Suddenly a massive black bear scooped me off the ground with so little effort it made me feel like a feather adrift in the wind, though held tightly in the creature's arms. "Bonjour, Cody!" "Ah, ça va, Garth?" "Ça va bien." The large Ursine laughed so loudly that the three of us could feel the deep rumbling in our chests. Garth kept his grip on me, and Toby and Liam knew interrupting the hug would be a pointless effort. "Got a real special ball for you today, Cher. I'll take a look-see." As if I was incapable of turning my own head, Garth hoisted me around, once more allowing me to take in the wonderful sights of the boil in the making. Wow, really seems like everyone is here. I never considered myself popular, far from it. But I had to admit, it really was nice seeing so many people I knew one way or another gathered to one last boil on my behalf. Garth was beaming with pride, clearly happy he'd managed his largest turnout yet. Much as I tried to fly into the radar, people still seemed to notice me, to see me differently. In my heart, I knew why. I was hiding the truth that would make almost everyone attending the feast hate me without question. "What did I tell you, Chef?" "Oh, shush, how could I not? Yeah, let the good times roll." "Oui, exactly." "Garth, put me down, please. I've got some envy for some crawdads that only your cooking can fix." The enormous bear laughed, finally setting me down, motioning with a paw for the three of us to follow. "You're all just in time. Come up front with me." The three of us followed Garth to the head table, which felt a little out of place for us, so we preferred sticking to the flanks. But I appreciated the Ursine's gesture, who was really trying to make the event extra special. We grabbed a seat with some of my neighbours and schoolmates. Almost everyone else excitedly followed after the bear whistled loudly. His volunteers began laying out the feast, spreading massive hauls of corn, potatoes, crawfish, crab, andouille sausage and more on every table. Liam's mouth was drooling at the sight of it all. Tobin having taken a shell cracker and paw, I kept my eyes fixated on the delicious looking spread, and the smell was even better. In my mind, nothing could top the pure, unique personality that came from a Boyle's secret spice blend, and Garth's was the best of them all. "Gather round, y'all, gather round. Now, I knows you're all dying to dig in, but first things first. Cody, would you do the honours?" The question left a lump in my throat, as public speaking was never my forte. Being in front of a camera gave me the distance I preferred. Regardless, I obliged the kindly bear and stood up from the table, walking over next to him. Everyone in the courtyard took hold of a neighbour's paw and bowed their head. "Bless the spirits in these crawfish we're about to enjoy. Bless those who caught them, those who prepared them, and give crawfish to those who have none. We thank you for this wonderful world and all you have put on it. And we give special thanks for having brought the Cajuns and the crawfish to the same place. Amen." The collective crowd recited the Amen without me, and I smiled. Glad I managed to pull it off without a hitch. "Merci, Cody. Absolutely beautiful. You heard him? Bon appetit." Garth took a seat with me at the table. Liam was already diving into a pile of crawfish, and Tobin was cracking open a crab leg. Garth and I tucked into the feast as well. At least for a little while, the chatter among the crowd was minimal, with everyone just digging in and enjoying the massively crafted meal. "How's your ma and them?" "Ma's upset. Pa is... Oh, guess he's not my pa anymore." Garth narrowed his gaze at my response, easily picking up on the resentment and anger I was still harbouring over my father's methods, feeling as though I was strengthened by the uncertain future now facing me. After all, things really fell apart when I started looking for colleges. My pa refused to pay for any that wasn't Catholic, which sent me scrambling. Let's not talk about it. "So, where's it you're setting off to, Cody?" "Aspen Hollow, Montana. Couldn't really afford art programs anywhere else." "You'd have to start with art, you know. Could have gone to a community college, get the basic stuff, transfer to an art program." "Well, it's not wrong, Cher. There's money the only reason." I reckon it'd be good for my creative process, seeing a different landscape, different sorts of folks. I love a good swamp story. There's got to be more stories out there waiting for me to bring them to light, right? Admittedly, the prospect of finding new stories to tell was a strong one, but moving just one state over would have given me fresh insight. But no, Aspen Hollow called to me. I still couldn't place why, but the name of the town stirred something deep in my soul, a scant flicker of hope. Maybe Cody will finally find time for a girlfriend up there. Oh, that would be a sight to see. We'll have lots of free time now, he won't be corralling you two. Liam teasingly jabbed my side with his elbow. Forcing a chuckle, I gave a half-hearted nod, looking away from the conversation. Please don't bring up prom, I thought loudly to myself. Or it would be loud enough that it might even deter my friends. I still don't see why you didn't stick with Sarah. She was nuts for you. No way, brah. Sarah wasn't right for him. Should have stayed with Rebecca. They voted cutest couple at prom. Took every bit of self-restraint I had not to sigh heavily in that moment. If there was one thing my friends were relentless at, it seemed to be bringing up my love life. They always had this notion the girlfriend would help distract me from troubles at home. Why don't you two actually become a couple after prom? It just wasn't the right fit, alright? I tensed up at the question, nervously rubbing my paws together under the table. Every time prom was brought up, I wished I'd stuck to my gut and skipped it altogether. Prom wasn't an event meant for someone like me. Oh, you shouldn't go around forcing relationships on others. Love isn't something meant to be arranged. When you find a special someone, you get this feeling in your heart. A feeling you've never known before. Yet you reckon you've somehow always known of it. Well, I think you'll find it up there, Cody. A special girl you can't wait to show us. I hope she likes me. Gosh, you will. What's not to like? Things won't be quite the same around you, though, with you up in Montana. As if Liam had been sitting with bated breath, waiting for his moment, could help bringing the subject of me moving way back up. This would be worse than finding someone put a curse on you. You can hardly reckon the day is truly here. Not the end of the world. Just a couple of years, eh? Enough. He's right. Don't think about it. It's just any other day in New Orleans. As we continue to eat, we're occasionally interrupted by neighbours and classmates popping over the chat, with quite a lot of compliments being heaped on Garth for the meal. So, are you ready for the premiere? Liam told me it's not all bloody. I like the thought of that. Just have to set up. I feel all tingly though. Never had this many watch one before. Looking around, taking the company once more, there are easily 50-something people partaking in the farewell gathering. I never showed my films outside club at school, so the thought made me nervous. What would people think? It's not just the blood part that's different. Cody was acting so different for this one. Back in the old steamboat wreck in the bayou, he just acted so odd every time we were on it. Nonsense, I was just figuring out scenes, good angles and framing. Nah, Tobit's right. It's like you're always somewhere else. Maybe it was. Bayous are awash with strange energy. So many stories about them. Not enough days in the year to talk about them all. I was just impressed, alright. Finding an old wreck like that and untouched. It's a goldmine for us. The conversation strangely put me on edge. It's just an old ship, that's all. We continued to dine, chat and feast until we were all well full. I knew it was time. Everyone slowly drifted back into casual conversation. With my sea chef, it was a masterpiece truly. Just give me a couple of minutes to set up. Oui, it was divine. I couldn't have possibly done that bite, brah. Coming from Liam, that was one of the greatest compliments Garth had ever received, causing the bear to chuckle softly. I left the courtyard for only a moment to gather the equipment I needed for the premiere. Taking my time, I set up the film projector and screened the most shaded corner of the courtyard. Tobin then wandered over, watching as I spooled the film. Excited. Something like that. Who would have think I'd be getting the jitters? I tried telling Garth, not so many people. Guess word got out. Yeah, even Mr. Jenkins is here. Thought he hated us. Tobin glanced off to an older husky who was chatting up one of his female co-workers. He'd been our third-grade teacher and always seemed to target us the hardest. Well, Liam spilled coffee on him once. Then there's a stink bomb. Was I supposed to know we could do that? He saw that effects book. We had to try. Liam pulled himself away from the crowd, joining us as I continued to set things up. You're talking about Jenkins? Yeah, don't know why he's here. Liam painfully punched me in the arm, making me listen to a startled squeak and stumbling if I nearly knocked over the projector. What was that for? Yeah, I both forget. It was a stink bomb. Can't believe you forgot. What about it? You had a reaction or something. Went to the hospital, right? Yeah, don't remind me. Swear my pa went and bought a new belt just because of that. Well, I think Jenkins met his missus. Shut up, he did not. You serious? I can't believe you both forgot. So nurse at the hospital. Jenkins started being all nice after that. Heck, how did I forget about that? And here I am thinking he still smells like rotten eggs. Dang. Tobin, can you go set up the reel-to-reel? Almost ready here. The fox gave a nod, grabbing the audio spools and wandering off to get the rest of the setup done so we could get the movie going. Yeah, ready for this, brah? No, but fixing to do it anyway. Once everything was set up, Garth herded the three of us in front of the screen, getting everyone's attention. Standing there with all those faces staring had me shaking. Tobin gently nudged against me after a few seconds. Oh, go on, get it over with. Shuffling in place a little, I took a deep breath, attempting to steady my nerves. I wished I was still behind the camera rather than facing an expectant crowd. Howdy, all. Really appreciate so many of you coming to this boil and premiere. As I kept on speaking, my nerves seemed to melt away, speaking with a little more confidence with each passing second. Before we get things started, how about a round of applause for Chef Garth and his team making such a splendid feast? The crowd applauded the bear, who stood proudly off to the side, looking hot in the face. When the applause died down, I hurried to get on with it. We got a real special picture for you, I like to think. Tobin, Liam and I are happy to present Creole Queen's Widower Voyage. Flipping a switch on the projector, I hurried over to the speaker system, starting the audio when a red card appeared. Liam and Tobin took seats near the front, while I stayed in the back, watching the crowd settle in for my most recent film. This was the first time we'd ever had so many spectators for one of our movies. My eyes kept darting back and forth between the crowd and the screen. I chuckled at the sight of Tobin in his white prom tuxedo, peering out from the deck of the old riverboat. A vixen wandered in from off-frame and started to chat up Tobin's character for engaging in a rather sultry dance. After Film Club found out I was moving away, we all gathered together one last hurrah, making our biggest production to date. As the minutes rolled on, the overall lack of response from the crowd was making me increasingly nervous. No one had taken their eyes off the film. Though that left me to wonder whether they were fixated because it was a train wreck, or if they were actually enjoying it. I knew how I felt, constantly spotting all these small mistakes that was certain only I could spot. They still bothered me as I strove for perfection. But then it happened. A mostly unanimous gasp of shock when the first unsettling element took place. The vixen was shoved off the bow of the ship by a mysterious figure, a look of terror in her eyes as she fell towards green flames rising from the quagmire. The movie neared its end, and the crowd's tension was palpable. Watching the finale with deep interest made the fur of my neck stand on end. Fog rolled in around Liam, who stood menacingly on the dock, by his ship, dressed in a bloodied captain's outfit. Shimmering orbs of light behind him lined the decks of the decrepit boat. Tobin stood in shambles, his eyes looking heavy from an eternity of guilt and sadness. I can bear this pain no longer. Please, let me see my Esmeralda again. I've done all that you've asked of me. Forever will I live with these sins I've committed at your behest. Honour our bargain and return my Esmeralda. If that is your wish. Liam faded into the fog and the scene became sunlit. The vixen stood in his shimmering dress at the top of the ramp. Her hand reached out to Tobin, once more dressed in his finest suit. Romantic music swelled as he walked up the ramp, pulling Esmeralda into a tight embrace. The glow of sunlight narrowed on them like a spotlight, and they danced. It's over, my sweet honeysuckle. We are together again at last. A blinding flash of light, and Tobin stood frozen mid-dance, a knife plunged into his back. The blade's handle on the vixen's hand. The ghostly orbs returned once more, gathering round the deadly scene. Liam loomed tall in the background with a red glow to his eyes and a sickly, approving grin on his face. Now and forever, my love. Tobin's dying gargle was captivating, jerking and twitching in her arms as life left his body. After a solid 40 minutes, it was all over. The film had ended. There wasn't even a second of hesitation. The whole courtyard was applauding, some even standing up. The sight made my eyes water immediately, completely stunned by the reaction. Tobin and Liam had been mobbed with praise, pats on the back and handshakes. I wasn't allowed to escape the attention, as Garth had once again snuck up on me, sweeping off my feet into another firm hug. That was magnificent, Cher. I didn't even try to struggle as Garth kept me pinned in the hug, walking me back out to be front and centre to it all. Liam seemed flustered, while Tobin stood a few inches taller, both trying to keep up with all the congratulations. I spent a good 10 minutes receiving compliments, wasn't allowed to budge away as Garth kept a firm paw on my shoulder, trying to comfort me in the moment, which is overwhelming with joy and anxiety. Soon enough the crowd began to part, leaving just the four of us and a few stragglers. Still shaking with excitement, I packed up the equipment. I watched Tobin and Liam bounce about, and the fox grapple once more around Liam's neck. You're a star, Liam. Heck nah, brah. You're the one that made it special. I'm just a klutz. Tobin gently kicked Liam in the leg with one of his dangling footpaws, marking with annoyance. What a tell you about selling yourself short. Enough of that. You're fantastic. Only took a moment of my back being turned for Liam to come over and pull me once more into his boa's grip. Tobin still grappling around the gator's throat. Liam laughed with delight, as did I, in between gasping breaths. Okay, ease up. No sooner had Liam let me go, I was once more swept off the ground by Garth. I started to feel like a sack of potatoes getting passed back and forth. There's something I have to show vous trois before I let you get underway. Come along. Liam and Tobin followed close behind as Garth carried me, led us to the brick wall that separated the courtyard from the restaurant interior. A large tarp was covering whatever he wanted to show us. The bear set me down, moving over the wall and grasping the tarp, smiling warmly at the three of us. You boys know you'll always be special to me, not for your working so hard right here, just out of kindness. This restaurant wouldn't still be here. Indeed, it's only 2 years back when the gas crisis was still making everyone hurt. Garth's restaurant was our favourite. He'd clearly been struggling to keep it going. The work was tough. We spent a year volunteering our time to fill out the jobs he had to cut to stay afloat. The four of us had bonded tightly in that time, forming an unbreakable friendship. Reckon it's about time you got a little recognition. Garth pulled the tarp down from the wall, revealing a large framed photograph. It was the four of us gathered in the kitchen, some of us covered in flour, joy on our faces. I remember that morning well. The bear teaches us how to make his famous Gruyere biscuits. Liam had been kneading the dough so aggressively at one point, left a small dent in the prep table. Chef, you're going to make me cry if you ain't careful. This is beautiful. How are we supposed to eat? Everyone will be pining over us. The fox spoke in a joking manner, which got a laugh out of Liam, who gently butted up against the fox. Oh, shush up. I'm always in there going. We'll have to get used to some attention one day. Garth took out 3 envelopes and handed one to each of us. It was a copy of the photo for us to keep. I held it close to my chest for a moment, sighing peacefully. Thank you, Garth. Oui, merci beaucoup. I'll do it again if you ever need us to. Thank you, boys, from the bottom of my heart. Your family in my eyes will always be part of this place. Garth yanked me off the floor for one last hug, crushed me into his figure, chuckling with delight. The laughter was a little cracked, trying to hold back the sadness that lingered in the moment. Don't be a stranger now. Drop me a letter when you can. Of course I will, as long as you promise to keep these two fed. Always, Cher. I'll leave a seat at the table for you. Garth patted both Tobin and Liam on the back, while wandering off to go about cleaning up with his team. We stayed a minute longer to admire the photo on the wall, but soon walked out to Liam's truck. We left the boil with stomachs near to bursting, and immense joy in our hearts from how well the film had been received. Bouncing along the truck to the heart of New Orleans, we made our way to a lesser-known park in the city. The park ran along the outskirts of the bayou and featured planked trails meandering through some of the swampy marsh. The place had a different feel to it, one I found more relaxing and appealing. Ah, that ball was the best one ever. It really pulled out all the stops. We wandered along one of the dirt trails, perfectly content in the muggy afternoon, attempting to avoid the food coma the feast wanted to put us into. Look, I know you all said not to, but I couldn't help myself. Got you some going-away presents. Liam looked on the verge of tears before I'd gotten out even half of what I said. Tears that, no matter how hard he fought off, were going to fall. As I fit around in my fanny pack, Tobin moved a few steps away, staring off into the bayou. Even he was finally struck to fight back his emotions. Probably still hoping to solve some bad dream he'd wake up from any moment now. Sniffing out 2 gifts wrapped in newspaper, I handed them off to my friends with a soft smile. I watched as Tobin turned his over and over in the paw. The gator was hesitant at first, but accepted the gift. Though it looked small in his hands, I have no doubt it felt heavy with sheer emotional weight. As Liam fought back tears, his hand shook as he fumbled with the paper. A distinct, all too familiar musty smell was wafting upwards at him. It let him know what awaited inside before even seeing it. What he finally pulled out was a large, folded map. The side of this map unleashed Liam's floodgates, tears streaming down his rough face. He'd always been the softest one, not that we'd ever minded. How the outburst caught the immediate eye of Tobin. Now hold yourself, it's just a damn map. Of course, Tobin knew it wasn't any old map. It was one of my prides and joys. The past 10 years of our adventures together, all contained and plotted out on sacred parchment. Every shortcut, filming location, vantage point, and secret hang-up spot. It's been years in the making, and serves as a timeline of most of our friendship. Liam continued to sob, his hand shaking as he held on to the map. Tobin huffed and at long last began to unwrap his gift. In his paws he was now holding a small, soft, rolled leather case, which Tobin recognised immediately. It was my set of lockpicks. The map and the lockpicks together had unlocked so many adventures, so many secrets, and so much joy. This was finally enough that even his tough temperament couldn't hold back tears. Struggling to hold myself together, I pulled the pair of them into a hug, a few tears rolling down my maw. Don't stop exploring just because I'm gone. I expect you all to have some new things to show me when I can visit. Tobin remained quiet, a few tears still flowing through the short fur of his muzzle as he squeezed the leather case in his paws, while Liam fruitlessly tried to dry his face with his shirt. Now we have something for you too. The fox reached in his pocket, brought out a tiny wrapped gift in a sealed envelope, offering them up to me, which I gratefully accepted. The envelope, it's from R.B. The gator spoke in a choking voice, trying as hard as he could to get a hold of himself, not wanting to sully our last hour together, though his eyes still shimmered with sadness. With a claw I slit the envelope open, pulled out a recipe card for honey beignets. Oh man, this is your Mars recipe. Nothing Dumont's can beat your Mars. My excitement over the recipe finally got a smile out of the gator, who nodded his head. Yeah, got to give it a secret, just for you. Excitedly I went around unwrapping the small gift next, quick to pull out the cassette tape. A piece of white tape was stuck on the words Cajun Summer written in marker. The clear plastic seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Well, maybe you enjoy a little taste of home when you get settled in. This is perfect. What I could have hoped for. Both my friends were smiling with a gleeful look on my face. They'd always known I preferred simple gifts. Come on, let's grab some shade. The three of us took to laying on the grass under a large willow tree, my eyes watching the wispy leaves dance in the gentle evening breeze. I still can't believe it. Why not be true? Is summer really over? It's not fair, damn it. Tobin and I glanced over the gator in surprise. The second time that day witnessing the rare side of Liam showing even a hint of anger, though he'd been vocal about it. It's my fault. Waited too long to apply for scholarships and stuff. Yes, but too much hope and believing my pa would change his mind. Yes, I'm finally done with him. Get to do my own thing, not be some dang walking trophy case. At least one good thing came out of the way he treats you. You stayed in the same grade as us instead of skipping. Yeah, it's one good deed. That's him hard enough to let me stay where I was. School sure as heck didn't care how I felt about it. Taking a deep breath, I puffed up my chest while imitating the voice of my father. I'll never get anywhere in life taking shortcuts, Cody. I have to take the long way. Heck, what's he know about getting somewhere in life? Not a damn thing if you ask me. Just forget it. Ain't nothing we can do about it now. It's all bad though. Maybe we could come for a visit during winter break. Yeah, brah, that'd be a blast. Can show us all the new art stuff you learn. The soft beeping broke through the conversation. The alarm on my watch kindly let us know the Reaper had come at last. The simple beeping put a painful weight on my chest, planting me to the ground. Reluctantly, we all stood up, quietly making our way back to Liam's truck. I smiled softly as I found myself squished in the middle once more. The pressure of the two against me in that moment made me realise I'd missed the small things the most. After all these years, I'd hardly think of a day in my life when we weren't doing something together. Knowing this would be the last moment we'd spend enjoying each other's company for a while was almost unbearable. The final truck ride together was a grueling experience. Every green light, every mile further was painful. None of us could even muster the emotional strength to talk as Liam pushed on. Until at last we were parked in the lot of the bus station. A depressing sight cast in the glow of dusk light. Let out a heavy sigh as I climbed out of the truck. This is really it, I guess. Tobin huffed, looking at the pool of buses idling away, watching crowds of people mill about. Liam was shaking something fierce, helping me pull my bags out of the truck. Only for now. Sometimes we just got to go where the current takes us, bruh. You sure about it, Cody? One might let you stay at our place. I can't impose like that. Besides, can't give up on this dream. I want to see our names in lights someday. We'll get back together for winter break. An announcement came from the speaker letting us know my bus was ready to load on passengers. Liam pulled the three of us into one final spine-pulverising hug. The gator was crying so hard I could feel tears dripping off his face and between my ears. Tobin was sniffling, holding on to us almost as tight as Liam. Love you guys. I'll get you my number as soon as I got a phone. Safe travels, Cody. Adieu for now. I won't raise my march any more recipes, okay, bro? You show them all up there what proper food is. Of course I will. After one last hug, I took my bags and climbed onto the bus. Finding in the window seat, I looked out at my friends who were waving. They stayed for the last few minutes until the bus started rolling away. And off I went, on a journey to the terrifying unknown, far from the city I lived in my entire life. Heading to a college in a town that might as well have been on the other side of the world in my eyes. Even as the miles wore on, that feeling of doubt lingered heavy in my heart. What if I'd just try and go back, live on the streets if I had to. At least then I'd still be with my friends. Though, as miserable as I felt, I couldn't deny a tiny spark of excitement was kindling within me. August 18th, 1985. Tomorrow's a big day. I don't understand how summer's gone by so fast. I'm not sure whether I should be excited or scared of what's to come. It's almost midnight now, and I'm afraid to sleep. So I'm scared, and I think what scares me more than not having Tobin and Liam around is just the thought of being alone. We spent our whole lives together, never a day apart. Outside a film club, they're my only real friends. Makes me wonder if I'll even be able to make new friends at college. Or am I just going to be alone until I transfer? August 20th, 1985. Writing this on the bus. Just crossed into Texas. Yesterday was amazing. Barely even a drop of sadness until the end. Tobin and Liam really pulled out all the stops to make it hard to focus on anything but the fun. Even Garth helped keep my spirits up. He's always had that way about him. I swear he's been more of a father to me these past 3 years than my pa has ever been. I don't know what's ahead of me in Montana, but I have to remember that even when I'm miles away, Tobin, Liam and Garth will have my back. Each bus transfer on the journey is another reminder that I was on my own now, making my own decisions and no longer afraid of my pa. The week-long trip had been a blur, through the swamps of Louisiana, past the boundless plains of Texas and New Mexico, winding through the majestic mountains of Colorado, and reversing long stretches of complete isolation in Wyoming. Until at last I found myself aboard my final bus, slipping into Montana. Fragrant pine trees were plentiful, and quivering aspen leaves would begin to show small shades of vibrant colour. It was the first time I truly felt happy in this journey. The beauty of the area was so vastly different from my home, it filled me with flashes of inspiration for new films. The drive into Aspen Hollow only furthered these fresh ideas. August 23rd, 1985. It's the final stretch now. Just 2 more hours and I'll be in Aspen Hollow. Montana is like a whole other world. Feels that way at least. The only horizon to speak of are the towering mountains, their peaks already dusted white with snow, conifer trees as far as the eye can see. Dozens of blinking you'll miss them tiny towns, the only sign of life in this alien landscape. I'm so tired, but college starts in a week. I'll need to push hard to get my affairs in order. I took in every detail of a small town that had grown out of the Wild West days, surrounded on all sides by mountains. Every home in it was distinct and worn down. As the bus rolled through the town, towards its heart, newer buildings and homes got changed out for older edifications. I think I saw a run-down gas station down the side road. Could be good for a zombie scene. A huge quarry would be great for some alien landscapes. I haven't really touched on science fiction yet. The water out here is so clear. No runoff from ships or muddy marsh. It'll be fun to play with that. See what it does to perception. Ancient structures from the days of gold rush pioneers, moonshiners, Depression-era relics seem to coexist around these parts. Little more than an interior has been modified for new shops, new owners. Some still had faint lettering left in their original places. It wasn't until we passed through the heart of Aspen Hollow that realization struck me. I sensed a distinct sadness behind the town. Just about everything there looked like it has done change from generation to generation. Buildings that were little more than a ball and chain, keeping the hopeful from doing something more with their lives. When the bus finally came to a stop, I was the only one to get off, lugging my 2 duffel bags and backpack off and out in the open air. I was immediately bathed in the fragrant scent of towering pine trees. Fumbling around in my pocket, pulled out a small list of directions, telling me how to get from the bus stop to the motel where I'd be staying. Thankfully it wasn't too long of a walk, though my arms were still screaming at me by the time I got to the roadside motel. Gently pushing my way into the little office, I gave a tap on the bell. Just a moment, be right with you. The candy badger soon stepped out from the back and squared away my reservation. You need anything? Don't hesitate to ask. Thank you. Just happy to have a place to stay. Before I knew it, I was alone in complete privacy for the first time in a week. Just letting my bags drop onto the floor, I collapsed onto the bed, which creaked loudly as I sunk into its softness. Only after melting into the sheets for what seemed like a solid couple of hours, I found the strength to catch a shower, glad to wash the stink of the long journey off my body. As the water cascaded over me, I did my best not to think about home. If I let myself mope, I knew it would be the end of any motivation I had. If I wanted to stay strong, I'd have to focus on what lay ahead. School started the following week. I need to find somewhere to stay before then. What little I'd saved up would only pay for a couple more nights at this motel. Come next morning, I sit in the motel office, reading over the morning paper, eyes wandering through the classifieds, looking for any job openings I might be able to get started on immediately. Hey, they got a rental store here? Man, that'd be perfect. The badger behind the desk told me how to get to the store in the town's heart, and after freshening up, off I went. Following his directions a letter, I made a point of keeping my head straight, doing everything I could to think of to start my new life off in a good way. The town square is the most unique place I'd ever been. Each building looked like it fit perfectly in a good spaghetti western, if not for the modern signage and electricity. Video Den stood proudly on one corner, the most colourful of them. Tall windows filled with posters, community flyers, and a help wanted sign. A banner hung under the second-story windows read, "Welcome back, pioneers." Wasting no time, I slipped into the store and felt at home almost immediately. The scent of popcorn on the air, the sound of a movie playing nearby. An enormous wolf stood behind the counter, going through a box of overnight returns. Good morning. The wolf's voice was deep, but had a pleasing calmness to it. He smiled for a moment, eyeing me before going back to the tapes. Good morning. I continued to look around, almost forgetting the reason I'd even come to the store in the first place, till the wolf spoke up once again. Say, I don't think I've seen you here before. New in town? Yes, sir. Just got in yesterday, actually. Ah, a freshman then. Well, welcome to our little town. Anything in particular you're looking for? Yeah, actually, I saw your help wanted ad in the paper. I think it'd be a good idea for me to start off on the right paw here. The wolf slid a tape into a rewinder and moved closer to me. The lupine was distinctly taller, almost a foot above me. It made me empathise with Tobin's height challenges. He seemed to be eyeing me up and down, sizing me up. My name's Vincent. What would yours be, pup? Cody, sir. A couple of questions to get out of the way first. Do you know a lot about movies? Yeah, a good bit. Back in New Orleans, I was part of a film club. Made a lot of my own films with friends. Oh, I was happy if you see a fellow film enthusiast around. Any prior experience working a register or retail for that matter? No, sir. Well, I worked at Cashbox at school sporting events, selling snacks and such, but I'm real quick with math. Vincent was hard to read. I couldn't really tell one way or the other if he's pleased with my answers so far. All I knew was that he kept his eyes fixed on me. Oh, you say you make movies? Got any other hobbies? I enjoy drawing, quite a bit of it to plan my scenes and just for fun. Also I take the lay of the land too for map making. I smiled, hope my answers were good ones, standing a little too stiffly upright as the wolf continued to size me up. This silence felt uncomfortably long, as if the owner was looking at something about me that I couldn't see. An artist, you say? Tell you what, I never mind training a young pup, especially one who's already a film enthusiast. But I'll need a little more out of you if you want the job. I'm running a special this week on horror films, half off on the rental fee. If you draw me something to promote in a fun way, consider yourself hired. I'd be delighted to, sir. The wolf motioned with a paw and I followed close behind, watched as he pulled a box of pastel chalks from the main counter, then gestured to the door. There's a chalkboard above the night drop box. Show me what you got. With an enthusiastic nod, I grabbed the box and wandered outside. It took me long to come up with what I thought was a good idea. After a mere 15 minutes, I'd drawn it all out. An impressive and rather intimidating drawing of Freddy Krueger, the lion, slashing the rental fee in half, as well as a twist on the sinister rhyme. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better rent some more. Just as Vincent stepped outside to check on my progress, a fox wandered over to check the sign. Our movies discounted? Awesome! I should have that one in. Oh, yes, sir, we have several. Got a shelf straight ahead on your left. The wolf was smiling at me. It didn't feel like he scrutinised me, for a change. Not bad, pup, not bad at all. You got a couple hours to spare to start your training now, or do you need to get settled in the dorm first? The question caused a lump in my throat. I was hesitant to bring up the matter. Well, yeah, I'd be delighted to start now. Don't actually have a dorm room, though. Could barely afford tuition and books. No dorm? Well, where are you staying? There it was again. That gaze that felt as if he was taking notice of more than just my figure, seeing something I couldn't. I wondered if he was just great at spotting a liar. Old Pine Motel. There was an awkward amount of silence. The wolf seemed to mull something over in his head. He briefly glanced past me at the artwork, then back down to me, flashing a quick smile. I can trust you, right? You'll be a good pup, treat our customers with kindness and keep lending your art talents? Yes, sir, I promise I won't let you down. His questions had me feeling hopeful I'd have a job at the very least. Already an improvement in my eyes, as I worked to distance myself further from my power and settle more into a life of my own. For a moment there I felt connected to Vincent, like we were on the same wavelength. I could almost sense his trust in my words growing by the second. Tell you what, normally I wouldn't even offer this, but I see promise in you. Could be a really great asset to my little shop. So I've got a special one-time offer for you. If you're willing to work for half wages, you can have the little apartment above the store. It's not much, but it sure beat being on the streets when winter comes. Deal? My eyes went wide with shock as I nearly jumped on my fur with excitement, never having imagined this morning going as well as it was. But I'd always told me I'd find nothing but failure in my life if I didn't stick to his plan. Yet here I was, proving him wrong already. Maybe there's hope for me yet. The wolf was extending me a lifeline, a solid chance to keep making something of myself. I'd be a fool to say no. Vincent smiled at me. Surely you could tell how enthused I was by the offer. Are you serious? Teal? Well, welcome aboard. Let's get started your training. You can get moved in tomorrow. I just need to tidy up in there first. Been using it as a storage for some stuff. Winston spent the better part of the morning training me, going over every single detail of the job, the tasks I needed doing. It's a little overwhelming at first, but I refused to let him down. As an employee, you're entitled to one free rental a week. I'll also be giving you new releases to watch the day before you put them out, so you can be better informed for our customers. Once you've got your semester schedule, let me know what it is. I'll see about working your hours into it in a fair manner and try to keep your free days as days off. After that, my first shift went quite well. I was loving the compliments about my artwork, nicely settling into my role. By mid-afternoon, I seemed a natural for the job, looking like I'd already been doing it for years. As I went about shelving some movies, I was unaware that someone outside had stopped dead in their tracks and hurried inside. Cody, is that really you? A familiar though more mature voice filled my ears. The sound of it made my heart skip a beat, and I turned to face the speaker. At the sight of him, my mind wandered backwards to the best summer vacation of my life. 8 years come and gone since that fateful July. Those first 2 days of summer camp had been the worst. I felt so nervous all the time, far from home, afraid to try and make new friends. But by the third day, I was approached by Aldrich, the confident and friendly German shepherd who was able to make me feel at ease almost instantly. We became fast friends, and day by day I would hang out with Aldrich more and more. We'd fall behind on hikes just so we could talk for longer and spur each other on competitive activities like archery, climbing and tag football. After the first week I turned into an entirely different person, with the confidence to be my actual true self. Even Aldrich had been opened up right before my eyes. He'd started talking more about himself, filled with so much joy I could practically feel it radiating off of him. It was during our second week that we decided to break the number one rule of camp: don't leave the grounds. Hey Cody, wake up! Groggily I rolled over in my bunk, looking at the silhouette of the shepherd in the doorway. Come on, sleepyhead, don't tell me you forgot. I didn't, I was just faking. Aldrich flashed a toothy smile, easily spotting my lie. It didn't seem to deter him one bit, motioning with the paw. Don't go off to count the cabins go dark. It's all clear now, come on. Where are we going though? I told you, the lake for a private swim. Hurriedly I slipped into my swim trunks and wandered out of the cabin. Yawning into the night, I stretched my arms towards the sky. Whiskers twitched as I continued to shake off sleep. Quietly, Aldrich led me further and further from camp, up to the wooden fence that served as its border. Come on, I'll give you a boost. The shepherd pressed his back against it, cupping his paws together in front of him. I didn't even hesitate, stepping up, allowing Aldrich to push me up, grasping the top of the fence and clambering over. We're clear, come toss my bag over. A few seconds later, the shepherd's bag landed near me with a heavy thud, no doubt filled with some snacks and towels. The sound of his running got me riled up in excitement. With a grunt, Aldrich asked a friend to stop and pulled himself over. We wandered into the forest, accompanied by the hooting of an owl, the chirping of crickets, the sounds of a lake lapping the shoreline, growing louder with each passing minute. Never going to believe what I found. You heard about it last summer from another camper. Been waiting for the perfect moment to go. It's kind of exciting being outside the camp. Don't reckon I'd be happy here if it wasn't for you. Camp just seems kind of boring. Man, you have no idea. 3 years now my parents have sent me here. First year was fun. When the camp got strict about stuff, made it safer. Made it boring if you ask me. Oh, you used to have arrows with real tips on them. Now we got those stupid blunt ones that can hardly punch into hay. First time here we got to climb real rocks. That's just that dumb wall. Sounds way more fun. My pa would have a fit if he found out about that. After a good 15-minute walk we made it at last. Aldrich pushed through a bush. His smile greeted me as I came through behind him. My eyes went wide with excitement and delight at where he brought me. A small private sandy shore on the lake's edge, looking like it had been in touch for ages. A lone cabin sat on stilts over the water, looking worse for wear. The remnants of a bonfire circle still lingered, like a tombstone in memory of the fun that used to be. Whoa, what is this place? It used to be part of the camp where I started coming here. Back when campers got to actually enjoy more of the lake. Boating without tethers, fishing, loads of stuff. Plus there's that. The shepherd pointed off the shoreline, the floating platform holding an elevated diving board some 50 feet away, and for all sorts of fun. But why do they stop coming here? I don't know. Probably part of them trying to be safer. Now it's all ours. We can come here every night if we want. Our secret spot. Race here to the platform? Aldrich cocked a toothy grin at the challenge, setting our bag down by the bonfire ring, getting to a starting stance. Count it off on 3. 1, 2. With a lunge, Aldrich started off before I finished the count. Hey! I hurriedly charged after Aldrich, lagging behind as we ran along the dock. The shepherd was the first to jump in, but hot on his heels I was diving in soon after. Staying below the surface, I went deep enough that Aldrich probably couldn't hear me charging past him in the water. I made it to the floating platform, popping up with a laugh only a few seconds later, waving the shepherd barely halfway to me. Hurry up, slowpoke. Well, I wish I was as fast as you. There you go for a dive. I can see you good from here. All right. I didn't even hesitate to climb the old rickety ladder on the platform, up to the diving board, not even wasting a second to make sure it was safe. After a run, I leapt off the end of the board, swan dived into the lake with finesse. Servicing with a gasp and a giggle, I looked around for the shepherd. What did you think? Aldrich? The shepherd burst forth from under the water with a loud playful bark, lunged on top of me and forced me back into water. It didn't give me a chance to shriek as I found myself under the surface again, hurriedly going back out to be met with Aldrich's laughter. I wasn't even mad, soon laughing along with him. Meanie? Ah, it's funny, should have seen your face. With a huff I batted the water hard with an arm, splashing Aldrich, giggling with delight before turning to float on my back. Go on then, it's your turn. Sure, let me show you how a pro does it. Aldrich swam over the platform and climbed out of the water. Heading up the diving board, he ran along the bouncy surface, cannonballing off the end. He landed with such an impact, it splashed up a mighty torrent of water that showered me completely. Felt like an eternity of bliss we played in the lake, taking turns to dive again and again, challenging each other to breath-holding contests. I always won, of course, didn't make it any less fun. Eventually both climbed down to the platform, laying down on the wet wood, staring at the bright starry night sky, catching our breaths as the warm summer air washed over us. What do you think? Best part of camp? Yeah, let's come here every night. Don't God just swim, we can do other stuff. Sounds good to me. Right then a shooting star streaked across the night sky, making us both gasp at the sight of it. Closing my eyes, I made a wish, enjoying the sound of Aldrich sighing, relaxing to complete happiness. What did you wish for? Can't say. Won't come true if I did. Well, if I made a wish, it'd be for us to be friends forever. Don't need to wish that, though. Already true. Really? Of course. Even when we gotta go home, we can ride each other. Look forward to camp again. There was a hint of sadness in my eyes. I glanced over at the shepherd, reminded of something I hadn't brought up before. I don't think I can come again. My pa won my stay in the charity raffle. Well, we'll just have to ride each other more. Guess when we're older we can meet up again, start hanging out. Promise? Promise. We both went quiet for a while after that, just enjoying the night sky, basking in the afterglow of freedom from all the rules of camp. Every night afterwards we came back to our secret spot. We'd swim more. Aldrich told me how to play a few card games. Each escapade ended with a new tradition, sharing a ghost story. Aldrich always seemed to favour mine, telling me how cool it was to hear all the swamp monster stories I had to share. It was our final night at camp. We were laying on our private beach for the last time. Aldrich sighed softly and glanced over at me, a curious look on his face. Hey, Cody, how come you're so good with your stories? I think it's because I live them. What do you mean? My two friends back home, we started sneaking to a movie theatre, watching all the scary stuff we ain't supposed to. Started making our own movies, and so much fun coming with all this spooky stuff. Got this book on effects. Don't understand all of it yet, but it's fun doing what I can figure out. Can make fake blood, slime, and lots of other stuff now. I wish I could see them. I wish you could be in one. Really? What would I do? Looking at Aldrich, I began to size him up. His shape, character, overall appearance. Quickly making up my mind what role I'd write for Aldrich. The hero. Oh, that's no fun. I want to be the monster. I can make you a monster then. The thought of having one of my movies was really exciting. Everything about Aldrich was exciting to me. My friends meant the world to me. The shepherd was so different from life back home. Everything from the way he spoke, his life, where he's from, it's all fascinating. He's the first person in my life, not even my friend, with whom I felt comfortable being entirely honest. That next morning, as we'd been loaded onto different buses, for the first time I ever felt sad about leaving camp, going about checking my bag to make sure I'd packed everything. "Oh, Cody!" Aldrich shouted out, running across the cabin yard to greet me. "I want to give you something. Almost forgot." He fished around in his pocket, brought out a small, cracked open geode. It glistened with a vibrant array of crystals, black, deep blue and white. My eyes widened at the sight of it. "But don't you want it?" "Nah, I know you got it, Dad, so you can have mine. Something to remember me by." He handed over the geode and I twisted it gently, letting the crystals shimmer in the light. "It's so cool, though." "Well, not as cool as you." Aldrich smiled brightly, playfully punching me in the arm. I hardly even noticed I continued to admire the geode. "Don't get all right. I want to hear more about your movies." One of the counters called out for the lingering campers to hurry up and get on the buses. "I will, as soon as I get home." Sitting on my bus, I felt that pang of sadness again. Staring out the window, watching Aldrich's bus rolling away, sending him on his journey back home. I'd never forget that summer together. For a couple of years we sent letters back and forth, talking about this and that, silly little things. At least until 8th grade, when Aldrich's letters stopped coming. I always wondered if he was mad at me or forgot about me. I stopped sending letters only a month after he did, doing my best not to dwell on the friendship that drifted apart. Yet I never gave up all hope. In an instant it all came back to me. I remembered why this town sounded so familiar. And how could it not? It's the same town to which I'd mailed so many letters not so long ago. Here he was, standing in front of me, bigger, strikingly handsome, with an all too familiar smile on his face that filled my heart with warmth. The look in my eyes must have been enough, so Aldrich pulled me into a hug. The height difference between us had me planting my muzzle squarely into his exposed chest fluff. I couldn't get another word out, trapped in a hug that even Liam couldn't match, face pressed into the soft, thick fur of the shepherd's muscular chest. I was unable to breathe in anything except for Aldrich's unique earthen musk. She had a heat and a spice to it that reminded me of a crackling campfire. Comforting. Safe. Finding myself frozen in the moment, I'd happily stayed there forever, securely held by the shepherd. Pleasant summer camp memories still lingered, with the hug washing away the homesickness in my heart. "Oh man, I can't believe it's really you." And with that reunion between Aldrich and Cody, we're going to pause Northern Lights here for the moment, but don't worry, we'll be back to it before too long. Speaking of returning, next weekend we return to the Minotaur Hotel. And also I found out that there's actually an update to Dawn Chorus a while ago that I'd somehow missed. I don't actually... Normally I get these emails and say, oh yeah, Itch.io tells you this is out, but I didn't for that, so I'm going to try and fit in Dawn Chorus probably in the week, maybe next week. I still have some time here in the summer. But that will definitely be happening. We have to join up with Jagger and Gideon again, the Spectrum of Hybrids. There's going to be a major afterclass with some special guests in the story of that one. That's going to be fun to find voices for almost all of them, apart from one. I know what he sounds like. And of course we'll be rounding off August with Chenye. So quite a few things, another short stories can be fitted in somewhere along the line. And I've got other stuff to work on, so yeah, quite a lot for you to see. For patrons, I might be doing a couple of extra odds and ends. I've a couple of things on a Discord. I might be actually on Twitch, maybe this coming week as I record this. Yeah, I don't normally stream games. As you notice, I don't have that many on the channel here, but I think I might be just doing a bit of that, see how it goes, see how much fun it is, and to show you a game I was involved with I'm very proud of that unfortunately got abandoned. But that's what happens sometimes. Yeah, I'll be doing that at some point. If you're on the Patreon, I'll probably put it there, and I'll put a public post on my Patreon. So if you do follow me there, you'll be able to read that and know what's going on. Yeah, so fun things for August. We've got a couple of weeks of summer at least. Up here, I'm pretty sure some of you get way longer. Or for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, hope your winter's going well. It won't be too long before we get back to that. Be nice. And I mentioned my patrons, and always thanks to everyone who support the channel on Patreon. I really do appreciate you, especially with how tough things are with a lot of economic stuff right now. You are so helpful to the channel and to me personally. And my top patrons are Omar, Spiderling, Smuto, Tiger Cup, Amaterasu, Alamea, Greylock, Gracious Yevon, Andy Peng, Aaron Fox, Bastian, Bieka, Over Starboard, Brian Hall, Gobers Visser, Exact, Grizz, Harvest Mouse Productions, Evan King, Kartek, and Matt Kenya. And also thanks to you for watching. Hope you enjoyed these 2 new series we started. So there'll be more stuff coming up new to the channel as we go through the year. But for now, see you next week.